everybody, my name is April. Welcome to my channel, and if you're not new here, welcome back. I'm going to be doing the historical romance reader tag. I was tagged in this by Hannah very recently, however this tag is quite old. Jessica from Peace Love Books created this, and her video is 3 years ago. I thought I did something like this before, but apparently not. So I decided, what the hell, let's just do this tag. It sounds like a lot of fun. I myself am a historical romance reader, so let's just get right into the questions. The first question is, what was the first historical romance you ever read? My first historical romance was The Duchess Deal. I actually have it in the other room. I have the hardback edition of this one, and I really loved it. I never knew historical romances could be funny. I really wasn't like a huge romance reader when I started reading historical romance, and I really just needed something fun. You know what I mean? I was reading a lot of like dark, heavy, epic fantasies. And when I picked this up, I was like, oh my gosh, this is entertaining as hell. I think this is a great intro to historical romance for me. Again, Tessa Dare is just like a super hysterical author to me. If you've never read this book before, Ash, who is also a duke. I don't know if he was the Duke of Ash or what. I don't remember the names. He's gonna get married, and unfortunately the woman he's getting married to just takes off because one look at him and she's like, oh my god, he's a hideous monster. I'm out of here. And he's trying to find another bride to take her place because he just needs someone there to get an heir, and that's it. That's all he wants to do. It's a business arrangement. And when the dressmaker shows up and the dress that she made for his estranged now fiance, she demands her money back, and instead he's like, how about you be my duchess instead? So then she's like, okay. And then the whole book is just them two getting together. He only comes to her at night in the dark, and she's like, what is this? She's like, I want to see you. And then this was a book on the Heaving Bosoms podcast a long time ago, and they called him the Darkwing Duke because he's kind of like a nighttime vigilante of justice. And I think it was so hilarious as well. I highly recommend that podcast and listening to that episode. If you ever read this book, you will die laughing, okay? It's great. Question 2 is, what was the last historical romance you read? Oh, the last one I read, I literally just finished it a few days ago. It was The Mistress Experience by Scarlett Peckham. I gave it 5 stars, 5 stars. This one is so good. You have a very blunt and crass famous prostitute sharing 30 days of her time with someone who buys her. And he is a very buttoned up hero, and he wants lessons of seduction from her so that way he can enter the marriage mart and find a wife for him this season. This one is so good. The banter is A+. I really loved it. There's like some swoony moments at the end with the hero and the heroine. I really loved their dynamic and just the fun that this whole book has had. It's definitely my favorite Scarlett Peckham, for sure. Question number 3 is, who is an underrated historical romance author you wish more people read? I have 2 for this. Christina Britton is one. She writes an incredible friend group. Like, if you love the friend groups in books like Tessa Dare's friend groups, I think you'll really love the friend groups that Christina Britton writes. They're really great. The other, I think, underrated author is Daria Vernon. She writes more adventurous historical romances, and then she wrote this little book, Get Thee Off My Lawn, which I absolutely ate up. And yes, the heroine's name is also April, so that might be why, but I really loved this one. There is a pet companion in here, Gerald the Swan, that is just hysterical and gets into all the trouble. And I loved it. Question number 4, who is a historical romance author you haven't read yet but need to? Alexandra Vasti is one. Felicity Niven is another. I actually probably have a lot in my Kindle, so let me see what other ones. Stevie Sparks is another one. She kind of writes more spicy historical romances, which has kind of been my bag lately. Jenna Larkin is a historical romance that has also written some monster Regency historical romances. Kind of really intrigued by that. And then Tamara Gill, I've seen her name around historical romance Kindle Unlimited a lot, so I'm curious to try out at least one of her books. Question number 5 is, what historical romance would you recommend to people who are new to the genre? Well, I definitely think The Duchess Deal was a great intro for me to the genre. I think also getting used to the hierarchy of like who the Duke and the Earl and all of those kind of things, the language, the rules for society, especially if you're doing Regency romance. I think A Matter of Temptation by Stacey Reid is also a really good romantic historical romance that you could get behind and start. I think that would be a good one too. Also, the Wallflowers series by Lisa Kleypas, definitely as well. I think that is just a fun series to get started by. Everybody loves, well, I will say like most people love Devil in Winter, but that's the second book, so start with It Happened in Autumn. So start with there, and that whole series is really fun and really great. Question number 6, what is your favorite historical romance of all time? That is seriously like picking a favorite child. I cannot. I don't know that I can do an all-time favorites. I am a huge Sarah McLean fan, and I'm a stan of her books. Her books are always adventurous and they have really fun, strong heroines. Wicked and the Wallflower, it was one of my first books I read by her. Really loved it. Heroine's a pickpocket and she can unlock any door. Also, Wolf and the Wildflower by Stacey Reid. Can you tell which authors I really love? This one is amazing. He was like lost in the wilderness for years, and she is pretending to be a man so she can study under her father, who is a psychiatrist, and they like have this connection that's really great. That one is phenomenal. Oh my gosh, what books like would be my all-time faves? This is so hard. Perks of Being a Wallflower. There's a lot of I love the Wallflowers. Perks of Being a Wallflower by Erica Ridley, another great one, with 2 female main characters. One's in disguise and I just love it. Gosh, there's just so many good ones. Also, probably any book by Amelie Howard is my all-time fave. I love her whole series. Yeah, there's just way too many. I can't pick favorites. That's just cruel. Question number 7 is, do you prefer new or old school historical romances? This is a great question because there's basically the pre-2000 era and then the post-2000 era. And I definitely am one more for the post-2000 era. So I like new old school historical romances. To me, and the newer ones in this era of historical romance, there's a lot of more feminist ideals, a lot of ideals of taking down the patriarchy. So you have a lot of women who are trying to find their own way through the rules of society, and you have men who are getting in touch with their feelings and falling in love. And I think that's what I love most about the new school historical romances. A lot of the older ones, they don't appeal to me because there are a lot of them are like rescuing a heroine, or she's, you know, damsel in distress kind of stuff. And I've read some good ones that are older, but most of them are like that and it just doesn't appeal to me that much. But I do like to read some old school historical romances every once in a while. Crystal from Books Forever After, she's getting me into them more and more. She is. But also I just like to keep up with what's going on now, especially since having a booktube channel. I just like to tell you guys about new things that are coming out, so I'll read new ones, you know. it's just I'm more interested in them, let's say that. Question number 8 is, what are your favorite romance tropes? Okay, for historical romance, my favorite tropes are 100% marriage of convenience, one bed, one horse too goes with that, but that's kind of more fantasy. So one bed, road trip. I love those 3. When you give me all of them, Match made in heaven. Again, I like to read books that are adventurous. They have a plot that goes somewhere. It's not just people sitting in a drawing room talking. I will get bored with that really quick. I need something to be happening. So give me a road trip where they have to stop in an inn and have one bed and they're on their way to Gretna Green, you know, having a fake engagement of some kind. Sold. Question number 9, what are your favorite historical romance settings? I love the like dark parts of London. So a lot of books about like gambling hells, brothels, those kind of things. I love the seedier side of London setting because you have these very well-to-do, uptight people trying to do some body dangerous and inappropriate for society things. And I just think it creates so much drama. I love it. But then I also love a good carriage scene through the country, 2 people stuck in a carriage. So you really just, the whole setting is just these velvet drapes in this very confined space. I love that as well. Yeah, a large estate in the country. I like that too. As you can tell, I'm a big like historical romance Regency reader. So those are the type of settings that I'm used to and that I have liked. Question number 10 is, what is the oldest historical romance you own? We will have to go through my bookshelf for that because I honestly don't know right now. So it might be much later, but let me put in a clip right now of me finding the answer to that. There you go. That was fun, right? I hope I found a good one. Question number 11, what is your favorite step back? Oh, you own. There is a Lavrel Spencer step back that I really love. There's also another one with like this scene. It's like a Native American scene that is just friggin' gorgeous. I love a good double page spread step back. Let's see, what is the other one? I really love Joanna Lindsay's covers and step backs. Clearly, they're great. Step back specifically. I'll put in another one here. I know I probably have one more that's really great that I love, but I just can't think of it right now. And my husband isn't in the room where my books are, so I'll have to insert those for you. Question number 12 is, what are some historical romance releases that you are excited for? You know, historical romance releases I think are definitely slowing down a lot, unfortunately. I think the market right now is just not what it needs to be for it. However, I know there are books coming out, so let me see. Oh, The Mistress Experience that I read by Scarlett Peckham, that is not out yet. That comes out June 25th. That was a fantastic book. I've already read it, but I definitely am looking forward to buying it. Isabel and the Rogue by Liana de la Rosa. That is another one. It's with like a Mexican heiress, and I really have been wanting to read those books. This is the second book. I'm excited for that one. Also in August is the next book from Kate Bateman. She is another one of my favorite authors. How to Fall for a Scoundrel. Kate Bateman writes great banter and dialogue, and I really love what she does. So I'm also looking forward to that one. And question 13 is, what creators do you follow for historical romance recommendations? Crystal from Books Forever After. Really follow her. Mama Needs to Read Romance. B. Follow her. Christy reads a lot. Christy. Hope Vollum. She's also someone I follow. Lately, I've been really enjoying her historical romance recommendations. Also, Random Olive Reads. She's here on YouTube, but also on Instagram. I want to say she might be an author, but I can't remember. I know she's just a huge fan of historical romance. She gives some really great recommendations. So I also follow her specifically for historical romance. So those are the creators I follow. I will link down some more below and see if they want to do this tag as well. I know this tag is an older tag, but I haven't seen anybody do it recently. So do an update one, okay? And that was all the questions for this tag. I always think it's very curious to know what book got you into historical romance. So please leave me a comment below and let me know what was your first historical romance, or if you've never read books from the genre, what book are you interested in? Let me know. I am very curious about it. As always, thank you for joining me today, and I'll see you next time. Bye!